Hey, what's up, everybody? I have a nice, simple, relaxing video today talking about my granite list that I'm going to be playing at the upcoming GT at Leighton Gaming. So I'm just going to run through it. It's going to be a little more in detail than I usually do because it's one list, and I actually really know what I'm talking about when it comes to this army, I believe. This is a really similar list to what I took to the Dallas Open a few weeks ago, or months ago, I think at this point. I went 6-2 at that event with it. I really think I could have been 7-1. So this list is done well, and I made a couple tiny little adjustments, but I just wanted to talk about it and how I feel about it is in the meta currently and how I think I'm going to do this weekend. So list name, very important. Usually I'm a little more creative, but I went with It's Hanging Out this time. Solid, probably like a 6 out of 10 list name for me. Then obviously I'm playing Grey Knights and Warpbane. I don't think Warpbane is necessarily like the only way to play Grey Knights right now. It's just my preferred way to play it just because of the damage. Index is very fun and tricky though. I have an idea for it. Maybe I'll share in a couple days, but for now we're playing Warpbane. So characters, you would never guess that I'm playing two Nemesis Dread Knights. These guys I gave the Gatling Silencer and the Heavy Side Cannon. So I'm playing a mixture of silencers and incinerators in this list just because I like the 24-inch range on these, and they're really consistent. If you guys didn't know, they average like anywhere from 12 to 14 hits on with your rerolls. So they'll kill like an Eldar Aspect Warrior unit with just weight of dice a lot of the time, and they help chip off things in the 24-inch range is pretty nice in some scenarios where you're really taking like an angle shot or whatever. And then I had random extra points, so I took the enhancements. This one is a +3 OC. So you have an OC7 Dread Knight, which now does out OC and Armiger, which is not nothing. And then the Paragon of Sanctity. It doesn't come up super often, but in like weird little scenarios where you can't catch hallowed ground and you want to make sure you have your full velocity on your shots, you can just poke this out once per game and it'll help you out. Strike Squad is it on the home point. They have sticky, they're cool. I don't give them any special weapons because usually what they do for me is on like turn 4 or 5, I'll like stack them with a Purifier unit and then 6-inch charge onto my opponent's home or something weird like a late game play. So I just like when they have 15 melee attacks. All right, then honestly, like I love these things. I wish I could play 4 or 5. Frankly, I could, but then you lose Dread Knights, blah, 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 blah. So 2 Grey Knight Razorbacks, I give them both a twin last cannon and they get the Hunter Killer Missile. So if you guys aren't familiar with what a Razorback does, number one, I did a short on it a while ago when I first started doing YouTube. But what they do is they say when a unit gets out and the Razorback has hit something, the unit that gets out gets a full roll to wound whatever the Razorback hit. So what I put in these is the Interceptor squad, and the Razorback gets to pop out, shoot his Twin Link Glass Cannon at something that matters. And that rerolls the hit and wound because of Warpbane. And then Stormbolter gets to shoot the trash that the Interceptors are going to kill. And now the Interceptors get full rolls to hit and wound. So they'll like almost always pick up a Cultist unit. They'll always pick up a Poxwalker unit for the most part that's sitting on a middle point. And it just allows you to get really free trades in Grey Knights, which I really enjoy. And not to mention, like, the Twin Link Glass Cannon is actually really cool. It's far more efficient than you guys think, right? It's full roll to hit and then full rolls to wound. So it's hitting and wounding most things in the game that it shoots, and it's just a last cannon. It's very fun. Then my second favorite unit, which pairs really well with the Razorbacks, is 2 Interceptor squads. Now, what I do with these guys, and I might make a video on it, honestly, but what they do for me is they do like 5 different roles. So number 1, hallowed ground checks at the start of a phase. So what you're able to do with Interceptors is you can run them out onto like a point that normally you would never want to stand on, and put like one guy on it, take the point, and now you make all of No Man's Land hallowed ground for your shooting phase, and then you get to shoot the Interceptor squad, and they get to jump back into your Razorback, which is a lot of time like behind a wall or doing something else useful. Or just it's somewhere and your opponent has to shoot the Razorback to shoot the guys inside, and you could do a lot of layered plays and a lot of layered shooting with it because you can have the Razorback against the wall, they die, they fall behind the wall, etc., etc. It's really cool, very interesting. Second thing they do for me is they push out my opponent's rapid ingress really far. So if you guys don't know this, to get back into a transport, you don't have to be wholly within 3. You just have to be within 3, which is different than disembarking where you have to be wholly within 3. So what that means is that you can be 9 inches away basically with your unit to do the fire and fade. So I can push out a rapid ingress essentially 18 inches without really losing my unit, because I can push them out as far as they can go and still get back in the transport, right? Shoot whatever, keep my hollow ground, and then they get to jump right back in the Razorback, and your opponent does not have an opportunity to rapid ingress where they normally would, and you don't have to give up a resource to do that. And then third, they are like a turn 3 or turn 4 if I have them left alive, which I usually do. They're a really cool move blocking piece because of the Fire and Fade, so they're guaranteed an 18-inch move, essentially, and out of a Razorback, it's a 21-inch move to move block and create like a line to like block a knight from like walking. This is a little different, but you have to stop where the knight would land, etc., etc. But it's really cool, really interesting unit. If you guys aren't playing it in your Grey Knight list, I think it is an awesome unit that has a ton of utility. And they're also still just 2-up armor save jump pack guys, so they do a lot for you on the table. Next, I have 3 Nemesis Dread Knights. These are the ones that can always advance and charge. They can always advance and shoot, fall back and charge. So they're never tied down, ever. I listened to one of my friends, and I popped heavy incinerators on these, so I've got triple heavy incinerator here. They just make their Overwatch pretty solid at 6/1/1 ignore cover. Not much to talk about with the Nemesis Dread Knights. They're like the backbone of the list, right? They do all the damage for the most part and are randomly really durable. If your opponent's shooting like 1 or 2 like high damage guns at them with the 4-up invulnerable, they just are randomly really hard to kill, and your opponent can just bounce off of them just because of how the dice work, and then they get to run up and kill stuff. So Nemesis Dread Knights, I think 4 is the lowest that I think I would be comfortable ever playing, unless I have Canis Rex. I think 5 is kind of where my sweet spot is right now. Then the 10-man Purifier Squad. This unit I go back and forth on if I like 3 5-mans or 1 10-man, but I think with the way that the meta looks like, we have to have stuff that can do a lot of damage. So a Purifier Squad with 10 of them and 4 Incinerators, that ends up being 6 Stormbolters, 4 Incinerators, which is 4d6, and then 10 more Purifying Flame Shots at 4/1 anti-infantry 2+. Throw on the 1 CP full roll to wound. Now this unit is all of a sudden full roll into hit, full roll into wound, and it's doing a lot of damage into basically every infantry profile in the game. There's not a lot of things that can survive this unit activating with full rolls to hit and wound in shooting that's infantry. And on top of that, they're also still good in melee because you've got 6 melees at 6/2/2, which also for 1 CP full roll to hit and wound, which is just awesome. So this unit, what I usually do with it, I do 2 different things. Number 1, if my opponent is like being a little lazy with how their board looks, or there's a huge opening, what I'll do is I'll throw the 5-man Purifier Squad out as far as they can go, like with an advance or just a normal 9-inch deep strike, and that'll create me a 6-inch bubble for my 10-man Purifier Squad, just 1 CP drop in, and then you get a 6-inch charge. So a lot of time what this unit gets to do, they get to drop in, blow up an infantry within 12 inches, right? With just their natural AP1 ignore cover guns, straight volume. Then they get to bang a 6-inch charge into something like medium armor or maybe like toughness 5 or whatever. And they also get to go kill that. And then on top of that, they have a disgusting Overwatch with the 4 Incinerators, which is it's 4d6, and then the rest of their shots is just like 50 shots, full roll to hit on Overwatch. So this unit here just does a lot for you, and it's 10 guys with a 2-up armor save. So if you keep them in cover or go to ground with them, they're just like randomly really durable, and your opponent has to invest a lot to kill them. And then lastly, I have a 5-man Purifier unit. What I do with this unit mostly is they screen my backline most of the game, and then when it's time to start really pushing up the board or whatever, they'll get picked up, I'll drop them in, and they're going to create those bubbles of hallowed ground. So my Purifier unit or my Strike Squad from like early game or late game can 6-inch deep strike and charge and like take a point or do whatever. So overall, this list is really solid. It has a ton of tools. I think it plays Warhammer the right way. Now, is playing the right way good right now? I'm not sure. I think that it has a solid matchup into Death Guard. It's a little bit swingy, but I do think that like at the end of the day, I'm okay with playing Death Guard. I think it's good into most Marine lists. Any elite infantry factions, I really like the matchup just because the side cannons just shred. 10-2-3 ignore cover is just a very, very, very strong profile for armies like that. Factions that I am not feeling great into is Imperial Guard, Chaos Knights with a lot of big ones, and then 3 big knight Imperial Knights. Now, I know while playing a faction that I don't feel great into the best armies in the game is not a good idea, but honestly, this is my comfort pick. This is a faction and an army that I think I play really, really well. If I'm going to go to a GT and go 4-1 or 5-0, I do believe it will be with Grey Knights. And this list is super cool, super solid. If you guys haven't been messing around with Razorbacks or transports in general, I would highly recommend doing so because they add an element to your list that not all Grey Knight lists are playing. Because if you're not playing a transport, right, we get 170 points back. That can be like another 5-man unit, whatever, or a tech marine and some enhancements, etc. But what you lose is the ability to force your opponent to have to come play the game and interact with you without losing something that matters, if that makes sense. So the Razorbacks, usually what they'll do is one goes on your expansion with the Interceptors in it. The other one sort of stages to interact with your opponent's expansion or goes and gets area denial. And you're allowed to, your opponent has to bring something out that can kill a Razorback, which is realistically something that matters to a degree. And then your Dread Knights are able to take a really cool angle on it usually and kill it from like a safe distance. And just the small plays like that, the transports make your opponent come out and play. My favorite list is probably 4 transports. It's 3 Razorbacks and a Rhino, and it's 4 Dread Knights instead of 5. But for now, the way it is, I wanted the more damage. So this is my list, guys. I feel really good about it. I'm super excited for the event. My gut says I'm going to go 4-1. I don't feel great about the Imperial Knight matchup, and there's also some really good players going to this event. You know, I think I'm pretty good at the game, but there are some really, really good players coming to this event, and like 5 or 6 Imperial Knights. So we're going to see if we draw that matchup, if we can't pull that one out. But yeah, this is just my quick, dirty Grey Knight list review. If you guys want me to dive deeper into this on like TTS and how I move and how I deploy and things, I'd be happy to do so. I would consider Grey Knights my best army, but yeah, that's it for today, guys. Just a nice, quick, easy video. Like and subscribe, and I will obviously do a GT recap probably on Monday. And tonight or tomorrow, I will have a Chaos Knight list overview with Charlie that I'm going to be recording, and we're going to go over three cool Chaos Knight lists. So thank you, guys. I'll see you around. Have a good one. Just want to say a quick thank you to everybody. I did pass 200 subscribers the other day, so thank you so much. It'll keep coming.